Hi, and welcome back from spring break. This is just a short video overview of what we're doing this week as we jump out of the WikiEDU project and jump into some other topics that we're going to be discussing throughout the rest of the semester. Some things that we have up ahead that we're looking at doing, artificial intelligence, of course, biotechnology can be interesting, virtual reality, and we've got a few other topics that are still in the mix. So stay tuned. We're going to start with AI next week, and then after that, I'll keep you posted as topics develop. And who knows what might hit the news that we might find interesting to talk about. So now we're going to jump back into Moodle. We do have a team that is working on biography projects still, but I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But for right now, most of our stuff now is going to be strictly in Moodle. So if you're done with the biography project, you won't be going back to WikiEDU until the end of the semester, because I'm going to have you loop back probably about 2 weeks before the end of the semester and take a look at the biography you worked on just to see, has any other edits been made? Did other editors come in and do comments? Was it reverted? Hopefully not. Is there something we can do to make it better? So we're going to loop back right at the end because we want to see if our work stuck, basically. And I will tell you, because I have them all on a watch list, that there are a few of the biographies that are actually getting a lot of page views already, and that are already getting other editors adding some information and maybe some pictures and different things. So that's exciting because that's exactly what we wanted to have happen. But we'll loop back to that in a few minutes. So taking a look at what we have here in Moodle, I've added a block right here at the top because a lot of you said you wanted to see what other people's pages were like. So I will keep this updated, and if there's any main changes, I'll make a notice of that or something. But this is the list of all our biographies and what their status is, and you can click the link and go to them. If you click any of the links and you notice that there's any notifications or any warnings or anything, just let me know and I can use that to update this list. But by and large, I'll probably look about once a week and see where we're at. So we have a few projects that haven't been moved to main space. They weren't quite ready. We had a couple of projects we thought were ready for main space. They got published and they got reverted for one reason or another. And based on what Brianda and I have looked at, we don't think it's anything that's mission critical. Like, we think things can get fixed and those can get put back on main space. We have one that's not been rated yet by the Wikipedia community. And then we have a couple that are C class and S class. And C class is a starter article or an intermediate article with room for improvement. And S class is a start class article with lots of room for improvement. But we kind of knew that. We knew that that would be the status that we would be seeing. So that's really good. We're kind of excited about that. Anyhow, if you're interested, you can keep track of what's going on there. So moving down here to week 9, portfolios and trolleys. That's kind of a weird mix of topics, right? Portfolios and trolleys. So we're going to start off doing something called an academic portfolio. And we did this last time I taught the class, and it was really a good exercise. Everybody really enjoyed the end result. Sometimes the process is a little tricky, but you're going to be doing projects, and you started with the Wikipedia project, but you're going to be doing projects that are things that you might want to show off because they're activities that are going to ask you to think and create and demonstrate, just like everything else I've done in the class so far. And so a portfolio is simply one place to put that. And so when you come down the list here in the Think project, I went about this a little backwards, sorry. Let's jump to the Learn. So I've got a couple of articles about what portfolios are, why they're useful. I can tell you that every job I've gotten over the last 20 years has it been in part because that I had a portfolio of work to show. I was able to show different things I had done, different awards I had received, projects I had been a part of. This Wikipedia project is going to go on my portfolio for sure. And so we're going to start off with that. And so read these couple of things. They won't take you very long, and it will give you an idea of why it's important. And then the portfolio project outline and framework. If you click on that, you'll see there are two things. So project submission form And it's super easy this week. You're just going to give me a link. Okay, I'll get to that. And then the project overview and details. And then I've got a calendar here. So we're in the first stage. There's going to be 4 steps to this, and you'll build this as we go along. Okay, so when you click on the project overview, it'll open this up. Whoops, I should have been up at the top. Portfolio project. And what is a portfolio? Why you should create one. When you share any documents, use the sharing protocol, just like we do all the time. And then here's where we are right now, 4 sections. And each of these sections will be linked to as we open up those parts of the project. All right. So this week, in a nutshell, this week, you're just going to have a Google Doc where you create a framework, you make sure your name and everything is on it, and it's just a note-taking document. So as you do things, you have one place where you can keep track of the links, you can keep track of resources, you can keep track of reflections, like you can put everything in this note-taking document. I'll have the link, but it's not anything you'll submit. So it's just sort of a way for you, like I said, to keep track of everything. Next week, we're going to choose a portfolio format, and you're going to create a basic template. And so a lot of people use slides for this. And the nice thing about slides is you're not limited. You can have, 100 different slides if you want. So you can really, build out things in a comfortable way. But sometimes people will do other formats as well. So I have some examples on the document. I'll show you that as I move down this page, that you can see what previous semester students put together. Some of them are really fun and really interesting. And then as we get through towards the end of the semester, you're going to create a draft of your artifacts, and you're going to do a video overview of each project. So what's an artifact? An artifact is just something you made. For example, the wiki biography is an artifact. The video demonstration you did is an artifact. The written reflection that you put together, that can be an artifact. So anything that you have created and put together. And then you'll have a final version of your project and you'll submit it. So when we get all said and done, you're going to pick the top 3 things you did. Those will be the first 3 things, and you're going to dig into those pretty deep. You'll list all the other things you've done, but you don't have to go as deep on those. And you'll see what that means as we move along. So resources. Let's jump down to that. And this middle part basically just tells you what you're going to create, okay? There is a link to a template if you want to use that. It's going to have an outline. You need to have these parts on it. And then you're going to submit your URL. That's in a couple of places, all right? And then looking ahead, I'm telling you what I just told you, basically. Here's the evaluation criteria, but let's just jump down. Student examples. There were a whole bunch I could have put here. These are 5 of the best ones that I think you'll really enjoy. So feel free to take a look through them, see how they put them together, look at their project ideas. Anyhow, that's just there to give you some ideas, but you're not limited to that. What is an artifact? It's types of work that you've created. So we talked about that. And then this bottom portion, I'm giving this to you ahead of time. So this will be at the end, okay, and it'll probably be part of the final actually, but it will go into your portfolio. These reflection questions that have to do with the whole semester. So you're not going to answer these now, but put them in your brain because these are things that you need to think about for the projects and for the class as a whole. So we're just getting started. This week it'll take you just a few minutes, especially if you already did the parts for Wikipedia. You already have your sandbox link, you already have your biography link, you already have the video you did, hopefully, you already have your written reflection that you submitted it, but you could put it into a Google Doc or something. All of that will go for this week, because this week you're going to make the template document and you're going to include the Wikipedia project. So that's the portfolio piece. Let's jump back over to the trolley part, because what's a trolley all about? So this trolley problem is a pretty well-known philosophical ethics thinking problem. And I've got some resources for you, but in a nutshell, there's this idea that there's a trolley or a train going down a track, and you have the power to control it. And so there's a split in the track, and on one side, there's one person tied to the track, and on one side, there's 5 people tied to the track. And you have to decide which way the train's going to go. The train has to go one way or the other way, and you have to decide which, and you have to think about why. But there's a problem with the trolley problem, and that's part of what you're going to learn about also. So what you're going to do is there's a couple of videos here on this first resource under Think, and then there's an article that has an audio clip, and it's really well read. So if you wanted to listen to the audio while you were looking at the article, that would be one way to take that in. And this is going to give you some things to think about because, jumping down here, there's a discussion. Discuss the trolley problem. And in the discussion, I have some questions for you. Like, what is the moral dilemma? How is this involved with right or wrong? What does this have to do with technology in the first place? Okay, like, why are we talking about this in computer ethics? And yeah, there's some questions here that give you something to think about. And one of the questions I want you to think about is there anything that would make you change your mind? Anyhow, watch the resources before you do the discussion because otherwise it won't make any sense. And down here, I have links to each of the discussion teams that we used way back in the beginning. So now's a good time to jump over to Discord because this is where you will post your discussion. And so down here in the week CIS or in the CIS 50 category, I'm in here as one of the roles. And the reason I did that is because actually you're only going to see one of those 4 groups, and that's the group you're in. I had to shuffle a few people around to some different groups just to balance the roles or balance the groups. But don't worry about that. Whatever group you see, that's the group you're in. You'll see the trolley problem banner. You'll see the question. And then what I want you to do is just under here, each person post your question. Okay. Use a tag to start just so we don't get goofed up. So use like, W9 trolley or something, some short tag at the beginning of your post that's in bold that relates to this. Okay. And then go through and just respond to the questions. You're going to have to keep it succinct because you only have a certain number of characters. If you run out of space, create a thread on your original post. So write your post first, and then if you run out of space, create a thread on that post. Okay, don't create the thread first because then it just says so-and-so created a thread, and you might not need a thread. So only use it if you need it, okay? So everybody will see their discussion here. Now, the other thing I have for you to do here in Discord is under the announcements for this week. Let me scroll up. So there's the announcement for this week in Discord. There is a thread, and on that thread, let me actually go directly to the thread so it's full screen. There's a little poll, and a lot of people have answered already, so I appreciate that. But if you haven't answered yet, there's still time, a couple days left. I just want to know how you're using some of the class resources. Are you using the weekly checklist? Are you using the video, like this video? Do you use both of them? Do you not use any of them? So just let me know. It's a quick, like, boom, click the button, hit vote, and you're done with that. Now, the one other thing I will show you, and this won't apply to everybody, and not everybody will see it, is there's a new channel called the Bioconstruction Crew. And these are for people that let me know that they were interested in continuing on working on the biographies. Okay. And so if you're not on this team and you don't see this, but you'd like to be, let me know. Most of the biographies are in really good shape, and we just have to do a few more things to get them ready to publish and then to publish them. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get all the team biographies over the finish line. Now, on this, you'll see there's a thread. So if you're on this team, I'm talking to you, and there's only a handful of people. And so there is a voting thing here. We've got 4 biographies we're going to look at first. We've got a couple of biographies that we will, if we have time, try to finish up. And I'm thinking that this will take maybe a total of 5 or 10 hours for the rest of the semester. Like, we're going to try to wrap this up by May. But what I need to know first from the bioconstruction crew is what biography do you want to work on? So if you're okay working on anything, vote for all of them. But if you have 1 or 2 that you specifically want to work on, vote for that. And what I will do with that information at the end of the week is kind of assign people to these 4 different biographies to finish up. And you don't have to work on the one that you worked on before. You can, but you don't have to. And I do have some additional resources for all of the teams that you might find helpful. But the first things first, I need you to vote. Okay. So let me put that down. Let me go back to Moodle, and let me just say that I think this will be an interesting week. We're going to kick off our study of ethics for the second half of the semester, thinking about this really famous ethical issue that has been discussed in philosophy and ethics classes around the world. And I'm really curious to see what you think about it. So get your post up, get your, watch the resources and get your discussion up. And then you're going to do a really quick portfolio template just to get the ball rolling. We'll add more to it next week, and then we'll add a little bit to it every week so that by the end, you'll have all of your artifacts in one place. So, really good week ahead. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm just a Discord notes channel away. And that's it. Have a great week.